the December 4th, 2025 the Zoning Board of Appeal meeting. Today present, we have myself, Carol Zacharias, we have Linda Munn to my left and Oren Glick to my right. On the Zoom call, we have Joyce Jaffra, and we will be joined by Brian Stoller, and we already have as well Lisa Rigmier, who is our Senior Environmental Planner, Environmental Consultant. So we have the gang all here, or soon to be here with Brian, and we're going to go ahead and get started. The first case this evening is case number 3204, Meadow Club of Southampton. They have requested an adjournment to January 15.
Yes, and we'll be re-advertising this case because they're modifying their application and it may require some additional relief. So we're waiting for the receipt of that to review.
Okay, so it'll be a bit of a different case than we saw earlier.
Correct.
All right, great. Do I hear a motion to
Yes.
adjourn?
Yep.
Do I hear a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Joyce?
Aye.
Great, thank you. All right, our second case this evening, Lisa is going to appear right and center. This is the case 3219 Madison Avenue Capital Partners. The property is 1323 Meadow Lane. They are seeking a wetlands permit to install a catwalk, a ramp, and a dock onto Shinnecock Bay. They need the permit per chapter 116, article 2A, 19(2)C of the code. We heard this case earlier in November, and we are proceeding with it at this point, and Lisa is going to share some information with us, I believe. Lisa?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Excellent. Yes, so I reviewed the application as presented. This is an application for a dock, which will be in the tidal wetlands on Shinnecock Bay. Unlike with freshwater wetlands, where the village assumes the authority to review and enforce Article 24 for freshwater wetlands permit, in the case of the tidal wetlands, the village actually has joint authority here with the DEC. So this application did require a permit from the DEC, which the applicant did obtain. They also obtained their permit from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, as well as from the trustees of the freeholders of the Commonwealth of the town of Southampton. And they also submitted the consistency review for the coastal management area with the Department of State. So a lot of permitting required here. The dock itself is a pretty long dock that will extend into, because of how much wetlands it has to pass over before it can access the water. But there's a very small landing area that's within that beyond the tidal wetlands boundary, and it's fully within the area that would be regulated by the DEC. So overall, I found that the application was compliant with the requirements of the code. However, I did notice on the submitted application that there was a prior special wetlands permit issued for the site when the house was constructed, and on all of the plans that were submitted, a large area surrounding the property is indicated as natural vegetation to remain undisturbed. Alex was able to provide me with the prior application, the prior plans and the special wetlands permit, which included a wetlands revegetation plan that indicated that cord grass and other wetlands vegetation will be planted, throughout that buffer area that would then be left to be undisturbed natural vegetation. And as the memo shows some of the aerial photos taken from near maps, it looks like initially when the house was constructed, this was compliant, that vegetation plan was implemented. But around 2003, it appears to have been cleared and that lawn is in that area now. So I just wanted to raise the issue to the zoning board. It's issue of, before issuing a new special wetlands permit, ensuring compliance with the prior conditions as submitted in that application to the board. And that, I'm judging from aerial photos here taken from satellite images. We could arrange to have a site inspection to see if the site is in compliance, or perhaps the applicant's there and can provide us with some additional information that might be helpful. But that's the one issue that was outstanding for me at this property.
Okay. So, Lisa, how would we go? Oh, would you like to make some comments? No, go ahead. Anything else, Lisa, before we start firing away questions and hear from the applicant?
No, I think hearing from them would be excellent because again, I actually I wasn't able to find the actual original wetlands permit
Right.
until today. So, you know, I appreciate their insight too.
Great. Thank you.
How are you?
How are you today? Thanks for coming.
Rob Herman, Event Consultants, on behalf of the applicant. And Lisa, thank you for that. Yeah, Alex was kind enough to get me the Dropbox link late this afternoon. Unfortunately, I haven't really had much of a chance to look at this except for about an hour before getting here. One quick question. Lisa, is it the area that's adjacent to the driveway that you've identified? Like basically where the dock begins and that area is now, looks like it's being mowed as opposed to being taller grasses, is that?
So it's really the entire perimeter of the site. In the original application that was approved, the only area that was going to be lawn was what would be the front yard and the area kind of over where the septic area, the drainage fields, the leaching fields are, right in front of the house. And most of the rest of the property, especially the area outside of the path, was an area with some with some native shrubs of different types, as well as some American beach grass planted there. And that does appear to be what was done originally from the aerial photos. It's hard to tell, but it does look to be now like it's lawn straight to the perimeter.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're describing. So I can't really speak to that. When it was done, I frankly hadn't picked up on that. You know, as you mentioned, there's a lot of permitting to do with the dock just to get here, and that's kind of what I was focused on. So it sounds like the good news is it does sound like Lisa's finding that the application that we came to you with is compliant with respect to the proposed structure, but there's a potential issue here that we obviously have to look into. I suppose the question I would ask would be regarding sort of the path forward. Obviously, if it is established and quantified that areas, you know, A, B, and or C are not in vegetative compliance with the previously required non-disturbance buffer, I would expect that the board would expect that to be restored back to what the requirement was. So the question would be if would the board be willing to consider the possibility of granting a wetlands permit with the restoration of those areas restored to the village's satisfaction, perhaps with a stipulation, basically a non-start clause that would prevent a building permit from being issued until that was required? Or would the board essentially stall this process for some extended period of time, which unfortunately I ask because if this were March, it would be an easier situation to deal with because they could go out and do the plantings. But given that we're now just going into December, that would be probably December, January, February, you know, possibly 5 months that this is sitting on the board's calendar. So I guess that would be the question that I would ask is as long as no building permit could be issued for the dock, which means the dock couldn't be constructed until this condition was reconciled, would the board be comfortable at least issuing accepting conditions for issuance of a wetlands permit with that as a stipulation?
I just have one procedure question because I don't know
Sure.
construction the way I would like to. Do you need that because you would start construction of the dock, the catwalk, and so on in the middle of winter? I don't
No,
think so.
no, it would basically mean that what it would do is it would save everybody time on the back end so that let's say the board moved, I don't know if you're ready to move tonight, but if let's say the board moved tonight or in January just to approve the wetlands permit conditionally, again with the no start stipulation for a building permit.
Right.
It would create a situation where in the spring, if once these areas were identified, they were restored to Lisa's satisfaction, the building department's satisfaction. At that point, the building department could then
Yeah.
release a building permit,
Right.
as opposed to us then coming
come
back
back
to
here.
you a month later, then waiting for,
Yeah.
in other words, it would make the wrap-up part more like a month than 3 months.
Right.
And that would really be it.
I understand that. All right. I mean, we can talk about this, but I don't have a problem with that, because if they can hold up a building permit, nothing's gonna happen. And that does allow them to act independently and forthwith as soon as they can. Is there any, Alex, procedural issue with that from a village perspective?
Well, we'll loop in Brian when we're able. There is some code language that we have to grapple with that talks about the issuance of a new permit while there's something out of compliance with a prior permit. But typically, when there's a plan to remedy that, the board has allowed applications to proceed in the manner that you're describing.
Okay.
The board in the meantime may also want to do a site visit themselves and arrange for their consultants to visit a site. And then I'd also encourage you, now that we were able to locate it, to take a look at that 2018 planting plan, because you may not want to go back to that. It may make sense as part of this to propose something else in its
Right.
place that may be, 2018 is not that old, but there may be something, better, or that would be more protective of the wetlands, or that would work better, in conjunction with what you're proposing than going back to a prior approval.
Right. No, I mean, that's a good point and makes sense. That's why I said I don't think I was necessarily anticipating, I don't even know if Lisa would be ready at that point in terms of having conditions for something to happen necessarily tonight. But I think part and parcel of what everybody's saying is that we would, if there is this non-compliance, that those areas would be identified and a plan provided for remediation that Lisa would have to find acceptable. And so at that point, we would be able to move ahead with the idea that I'm suggesting if the board found that acceptable. Because at that point, you would be incorporating not just the dock plan into your, special conditions and the board's determination, but you'd also be incorporating those planting requirements.
So you're saying, after this meeting,
Mm-hmm.
you take a look at this and make sure you agree with the conclusions that have been reached or suggestions that have been reached. And you either say, we're going to plant in accordance with the 2018 plan,
Mhm.
or here's a new plan.
Correct.
Once you come back to us and say, original or 2018, we approve that plan, and we provide the wetlands permit, and we make it conditioned upon getting the building permit, conditioned upon completing the, plantings for either the 18 plan or the new plan, and then you're on your own, and you can execute.
I couldn't have summarized it better.
Okay, all right. But the only hiccup on that is, by the time you come back with your approval of the 2018, we're gonna go forward that way, or the new site plan, we will have spoken to our counsel, Brian, and he'll tell us if there's any other little twists
Sure.
and turns we have to take.
Yeah.
But my attitude is I'd like to go in the direction he's suggesting. It just makes complete sense.
We'd have to move in that direction regardless, so
Right.
it doesn't really affect what we do immediately, and we'd have to submit something that I think the board would expect Lisa to sign off on before you would accept it anyway.
Right.
At least make sure, you don't
Okay.
say that they're, proposing hydrangeas or something where there was supposed to be native grasses.
Okay, so give me 1 second here. Lisa, what are your thoughts on this?
Yes, this sounds like a reasonable path forward, and I don't think the issue of being out of compliance, that you'll end up in the catch-22. Alex and I were talking before that you need to be able to get a permit to comply. So I think that is a reasonable path forward, and the sooner if you confirm that you want to stick with the 2018 plan, then we have already I'll just assume that's already been approved, so we can go back to that.
Right.
But if the client would prefer something other than that, just time to review it and look at what's being proposed would be helpful.
Sure, makes sense.
And in the meantime, Lisa, do you think it would make sense maybe to have Will go out and mark the property, the areas that we would need to look at, the ones that might be out of compliance with that plan?
Well, not to jump in, but Alex, if he ends up changing it, you've wasted your time. Am I right? I mean,
Yeah.
you kind of have to get a bead from your client on what goes on. If they decide
Correct.
to put a Ferris wheel out there, we're having a whole different discussion.
I think that once they get a handle on how they want to handle this,
Yep.
we should definitely arrange to have a field visit,
Right.
so that we are all on the same page. And yeah, it's absolutely fine to first, look back at the site for you to ascertain, because again, I'm looking from aerial images here and the prior application. And, then yeah, once you're, have an idea of what direction we're going, we can arrange a field visit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, maybe not easy, but the practical part of this is there's not a whole lot of land between the developments and the wetland
Yeah.
areas. So it should be pretty easy. Any area that is not currently in compliance, if there are any such areas, shouldn't be difficult to identify.
I'd like to ask why the client changed an approved plan.
Oh, that I-
Literally dug it up.
Linda, that I couldn't answer. As I said, this was brought to my attention a couple hours ago.
But maybe
Um,
they would shed some light on that.
Sure,
The
yeah.
next time you come before us.
Sure.
Just out of curiosity,
Yeah,
because
wouldn't
it's
be the
deliberate.
first time I've seen this.
I understand.
For all of us, yeah.
Okay. So does this mean we should adjourn it then to, January 15? Is that a good time
That's
slot for
agreeable
you?
to me, yeah.
All right. Everyone agree?
Second,
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
yes.
Yes.
Second?
Yeah.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Joyce, you good?
Aye.
All right, great.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you all working with us.
Do you want copies of the prior approvals? They're online, but you can have these
I
if you
saw
like.
them in the Dropbox,
Okay, great.
so I can print them
Perfect.
out there.
All right, thanks.
Thanks again, Alex.
Yeah, no problem.
Even though it was just earlier, it was super helpful.
Great.
To get that before walking in here, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Anytime.
Okay, great. All right, so we'll move on to our next case. Let's see. The next case is 3215 Hamptons HDA LLC, and the applicant has requested adjournment to January 15. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Do I hear second?
Sure.
Aye. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye. Aye.
Great. All right, case is adjourned till January 15. The next case is case number 3213. That's 268A North Sea Road LLC. The applicant has requested an area variance for a shed, basically. So we've heard this previously, and we adjourned it for further information, which has been provided by the applicant. So is the applicant on the line, perhaps? No? Is he on? Oh, that's it? All right, can the applicant hear us? I don't know that we have a connection. No? All right. Doesn't seem like we have a connection with them. So, Alex, if that's the case, can we proceed with the discussion, or do we have to wait until they're here?
Well, it's up to the board. If you feel that between what was previously submitted, all of the written documents and all the testimony you've already heard, if you have enough information, you could close the public hearing and deliberate the case either now or at a future date. Or if you want to hear further from the applicant, it may make sense to adjourn it until they can appear in person.
Well, can we deliberate it ourselves, but not close it, and depending on the outcome, adjourn it to the next session so they have an opportunity to come?
Sure.
Because basically, they gave us additional information.
Right.
We could discuss the additional information,
Sure.
and then we'll see if we are ready to make a decision. If it's an adverse decision, I would not want to do that. I would want to wait till they have a chance to talk to us. But if, for example, it's a positive decision, I'm sure they'd be thrilled if we would approve it. So I think we ought to, it'd be nice if we could go ahead and discuss what they delivered to us.
Yeah, absolutely. That
And
seems fair.
see where we want to go at that point. Is that appropriate?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Joyce, does that make sense to you? Yes, okay, all right. So, and if he can join us at any point and hear us, if the applicant can, just let us know and we'll shift appropriately. All right.
No, that's me. By the way, it's Brian. I don't know if I'm the one you're trying to talk to.
No, we're talking about the applicant. They submitted additional
Right.
materials on the shed, and
Yeah,
we're.
no, but I'm from my view, it looks like there's my name for some reason is not associated with my screen.
Oh, I see.
So I don't know if that's what you're looking at.
Oh, that's true.
Just says iPhone.
So that might be your iPhone, not theirs. Thank you, I appreciate that. And they may not be
Sure.
attending this hearing at all then, which is fine. I mean, that's their prerogative. Okay, all right, I gotcha, thank you. So Brian, what we're gonna go ahead and do is just discuss what they've already submitted and see how we want to
Okay.
proceed.
I'm good.
Okay, great. So I'll kick it off since this is kind of a bizarre kind of lineup, but here's the deal, in my view. They did a great job in providing us additional materials which we had asked for. Because we have 5 factors to consider, right? Is it consistent with the neighborhood? Does it harm the neighborhood? Does it hurt the environment? And on it goes, right? To decide whether or not we should issue a zoning variance. And I'm just gonna jump in with some thoughts that I've been percolating, because sometimes it's easy to criticize or be a Monday morning quarterback, so then you guys just pile on. How about that? I think in this situation, the shed has to be 15 feet from the lot line. We know that under the zoning rules. That is the problem, and that's why they came. Having said that, we do have the 5 factors. And the particular shed they're looking at or they put in, there's no electric. There is, unlike a garage or a pool house, there's no plumbing. There's no insulation, I wouldn't think to speak of, I don't know that for a fact, but it's just a frame, right?
No water, no electricity.
No water, no electricity. It's just a frame thing. It's 10 feet or so by whatever. And then it is common in the neighborhood. It's saying, is it different in the neighborhood? It is not different in the neighborhood. He gave us all that information. The neighbors are not objecting to it, and it doesn't seem like it do any environmental damage. I think if there's plumbing and electricity and, a waiter and parties going on out there, that's a whole, the pool house, that's a whole different thing. But that's not what this is. This is a shed. I think this is the kind of thing that I would say hits the 5 factors. So I would be flexible on this one. But having said that, that's my little.
Totally agree, that's what I think.
Okay. So Lauren and Joyce, I'd love to know what you guys think.
Joyce?
I think given the fact that it meets the 5 factors, I don't have any issue with this. I think it's fine by me.
Okay. Lauren?
I was always reluctant because this was built beforehand and
Right.
it's definitely stuck in the corner there but it does, I mean,
Given
you bring
the
up,
factors,
yeah,
yeah,
I
you're
think
stuck.
I think it leans in that direction, just,
Right.
I
I
think.
mean, the fact that it's portable, too. It's not a permanent structure of
Well, that's
any
the
kind.
best thing of those emails before we got here, that conversation about what a shed really is. Is it an actual accessory structure? Is it not? And it would definitely change if it's under, was it 10 by 10?
Right.
All of those issues, this would be a non-conversation. I mean, if
Exactly.
it's not, if it doesn't check those boxes, then this is just a shed.
Yeah.
And there's no electricity, there's no power, there's
Right.
nothing to it, there's no water,
Right.
it's just there for
It's
his
like
kids'
buying
toys.
something at Home Depot
And
or
just putting
buying a
it there.
play set at
Yeah.
Home Depot.
Instead of
and
having it
sticking
strewn
up.
all over the lawn, it's put in a shed.
Right.
And that's kind of how it's handled there.
Okay. All right. That's kind of, I hadn't talked to you all, but that's kind of where I was wondering if we were going to end up. So with that in mind, I think, Alex, you direct me here because given your experience, but if we're ready to vote, I'm not sure we are, I'll ask everyone, can't we just go ahead and vote? They don't have to be here, and we'll give them an early Christmas gift.
Well, it's up to the board if you want to have written findings summarizing your decision. Obviously,
No,
that
no,
has-
Brian has to prepare
Okay, yeah.
an opinion.
So yeah, what I would maybe.
But we could close it down, direct the opinion, and the next meeting, he presents the opinion.
Sure. And what you might consider is the board can also adopt a short form decision,
Well,
which
that's
doesn't
true.
have to come back to the board.
True.
So it's up to the board to decide whether you want to close this and have the council prepare a short form decision, or if you would like to close it
Yeah.
and direct council to prepare a decision that you'll vote on at the next meeting. And keeping in mind
Okay.
what conditions you might want to put on this in light of the discussion you've had about the reasons why you feel that this variance is appropriate.
Well, Brian, if you can prepare an opinion reflecting what we've talked about, no electric, no plumbing and all that, I think we could just do a short form and not waste everyone's time and have them come back, in January 15th. I just don't want this to be belabored where it doesn't have to be belabored, but I also don't want to railroad it through. What are your thoughts, Brian?
My thoughts are it's there. It doesn't matter if you decide today or in 3 months from now.
Yeah, Okay.
So
And-
you can go either direction, yeah, either short form or full opinion. It's up to you.
Okay. Joyce?
The I don't have a problem either way because I agree it shouldn't like tie this up any further, but this is not gonna prevent us from, if the applicant at the next January meeting comes back and for some extenuating circumstance has some kind of additional alteration or something to the proposal.
Oh, dear.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well,
We
you
don't,
know,
I mean,
because he's not here now, then maybe what we should do is go ahead and, is ask Brian to prepare the opinions we usually do and adjourn it to the January 15th as we usually do, not do a short form, and that gives them an opportunity to show up and make any objections to the nature of the opinion and the strictures.
And you leave the record open in the meantime to allow them to speak
You
at
leave
the
the
next
hearing
meeting
open.
if they'd like to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that.
That makes sense.
Okay, thank you, Joyce. Reasonable
Thank you.
minds prevail. All right, so then do I hear a motion that we adjourn this to January 15th? Yes, all right, it's adjourned, and Brian, if you could prepare that opinion, and we'll have something to talk about on January 15th with the applicant.
Sounds good.
All right, great, thank you. All right, takes care of that.
And we'll note for the record that there's nobody here to speak on the application,
Right.
and nobody came in online as well.
Right. Okay, great. All right, moving on to the next case. That is case number 3211, David and Daniel Organic at 1030 Meadow Lane. Case was previously heard and closed on October 2nd. Since then, we've been addressing the preparation of various variance proposals for the board's review. So today, we've got to address, with Lisa's support, the negative declaration and a coastal erosion hazard line variance. So Lisa, how do you want to proceed with this? We can't hear you.
All right, now you should be able to hear me.
Thanks.
Is that better?
Yes.
Great. So this application you previously saw, it had a number of other a couple of other variances. This was the project for an existing dwelling where they're largely enclosing existing porches. It's going to result in a small increase in square footage compared to the total size of the house. And a large portion of the house is in front of the coastal erosion hazard line. They require a variance because you are not supposed to construct in front of that line. The purpose of the coastal erosion hazard line is to protect that ecological area as well as to protect the structures and life that on the other side in that area that's considered very vulnerable because it's so close to the water. That said, this is this house has been in existence for a long time. It's not a new structure that's being placed there. As far as there's not an alternative in terms of constructing outside of the area because that's the location of the existing dwelling that's being renovated. The applicant is minimizing disturbance in this area by confining the work to the general area of the existing structure and using the staging area on the front road side of the house rather than the seaward side of the house. So it's my recommendation that the variance can be granted. I wrote the decision for the board to consider. In addition, I'll just note that within the village's code, the coastal erosion hazard permit is a type 1 action under seeker, which required the full environmental assessment form. And I also did evaluate then completing the part 2 of that form and the part 3. I didn't, again, for all those reasons noted and the reasons reasoned out in the resolution, didn't identify anything that was of particular significance in terms of environmental impact and therefore recommended a negative declaration, which the decision also includes. So
Right.
if you are comfortable with that, you can motion to adopt a negative declaration for this action and then to also motion to approve the variance.
So we end up with, make sure I understand this correctly, we end up with two things. First, because there will be no significant adverse impact on the environment, we don't think we need an environmental impact statement, and we're going to issue a negative declaration, which makes complete sense. So that's the first thing. That's on page 12, I think. We have to sign that. And then second, they need a coastal erosion hazard line variance under 49-23, so they can go ahead and construct their additions and so on. And for all the reasons you've listed, that seems to be appropriate from an environmental viewpoint, and we can go ahead and approve that as well. So there's 2 steps to this process, the negative declaration and the coastal erosion hazard line variance approval, correct? Do I have it
Yes.
right? Okay, all right. I've reviewed his materials. They make complete sense to me. I can't imagine, I'm not qualified to object, and I appreciate her expertise and input. It's fascinating, actually. Do you all have any thoughts or concerns? No? Okay. Joyce, how about you? Any thoughts or concerns? You're muted.
No, I'm good, thank
You're
you.
good? Okay, all right. Now, a procedural question, Alex and Lisa. I've read the documents, I can sign on the dotted line, but do we need to vote on this as a board, or with Lisa's recommendation, we agree and we just I sign it? Do we have to vote?
You're going to make 2 votes.
On
One
the
to
2 votes.
adopt a negative declaration,
Right.
and then a second to approve the coastal
Okay.
erosion hazard line variance.
All right, so let's go forward with the voting then. First, do I hear a motion to adopt the negative declaration?
A motion.
Second?
Aye.
All those who approve adopting the negative declaration? Aye?
Aye.
All right, that's the first issue. Thanks, Joyce. And the second is, who agrees that we approve the coastal erosion hazard line area variance as recommended for the various reasons? Do I hear a motion to
A
approve?
motion.
Second? All those in favor of the
Aye.
variance? Aye. All right,
Aye.
so passed.
Okay, great. And the board already approved the area variances
The area-
associated with it,
back.
so this application is fully approved.
Great. All right, thank you, Lisa, very, very much.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
This is great. All right. And lastly, case number 3220, that's 291 Hampton Road LLC. This is a case in which we previously heard it. Brian was asked to prepare an opinion. He's done so. He's circulated it. I've taken a look at it. As always, Brian, I think, is brilliant, so it's fine with me, but let's go ahead and open this up to the board. Do you all have any concerns or comments or questions on the opinion or the direction he's gone, based on our earlier deliberations?
Made sense then.
Anybody? Warren, you okay with it? How about
Okay.
you? You okay with it? Joyce, are you okay with the proposed opinion by the board? for the board?
Yes.
All right. All those, do I hear a motion to approve the, well, actually, I want to figure this out technically, Alex.
Yep.
We're not approving Brian's opinion. We're approving Brian's draft of our own opinion, correct?
Yes.
Because it is our
You-
decision.
Right. You're
Sorry, Brian.
you're approving the special exception based
Right.
on the written findings prepared by your
Prepared
legal
by counsel.
Yes.
All right.
But yeah, it's your names at the bottom.
Exactly. Do I hear a motion to approve the
The application.
application as represented in the opinion prepared by counsel? Do I hear a
Sure.
motion to approve it?
Yes.
Second?
Yes.
All those in favor of approval? Aye?
Aye.
Great, thank you. All right, that takes care of that one. Well, that's our last case, everybody. Fastest,
Whoa.
shortest
It's the
Sure.
shortest meeting
we've
ever.
had. Everyone's ready for Christmas, I think, or in the holidays, Jewish holidays. Our next meeting is January 15th, because otherwise, if we went on the first Thursday, it would be New Year's Day, and I don't think you all are going to be here New Year's Day. So January 15th, followed pretty quickly then by February 5th. We're back on the first Thursday schedule after that.
Yep. And the board can decide if you want to have a work session on that third Thursday of February. Just let us know, and we
Okay.
can add that to the schedule if you
Okay.
feel that it would be helpful.
So could everyone just think about whether we want another session, just as a think tank session like we did last time? I'm thinking either in February or March. Maybe it's once a quarter, maybe it's March, I don't know. But we can talk about this on January 15th. I think we should have a discussion of abandonment, because section 16 point whatever, it's a murky world. I had a great 1-hour discussion with counsel and Alex to learn more about it. And I think it's an easy thing to map out if you've got the guidance of their intelligence, if you will. So do you want to identify a couple of issues and have one of these think tank sessions like we had last time? Think
Sure.
about it.
I think abandonment is a great,
That's one of them.
Subject
And the other
was
one is, as we talked before, about
Environmental.
shed, environmental, and the shed quandary. You know,
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
it's this kind of what is it?
Where are we gonna
where
go?
are we going to go
Right.
with this?
Yes.
You know,
what is it,
True.
what is an accessory?
What is really an accessory
And,
structure?
and
Right?
what do we
I'm trying
think
to
of the 5
understand today.
factors
Bring it-
depending on the shed?
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Yeah, I think they're all, because it's going to come up again and again.
Oh, yeah.
You
Oh, yeah.
better believe it.
Okay. And Brian, Alex, do we have will we ever get a bead on whether or not there's going to be an amendment to the zoning on that? Because there seemed to be a discussion going on. And I thought it was just a great, intellectual discussion, as every village should have, about what we want to do with our zoning laws. What do you think?
Well,
Do we need to be prepared for something, is what I'm wondering.
I haven't seen or drafted myself a proposal for it. I know there's been some discussion about it, and some people feel different ways about it. As the zoning board, if you find that you're routinely getting cases for similar types of variances, especially where you feel like the zoning code isn't living up to its ideals that it's trying to implement, you can suggest that the Board of Trustees consider an amendment. Also, they can defer to the Planning Commission as a think tank that comes up with a recommendation.
Sure.
So if there's support among enough of the trustees where they consider a zoning amendment,
Yeah.
sometimes they might ask myself or the Planning Commission or even outside consultants to help them think through that and draft that.
Okay.
But certainly this board has a role in that, because if you're routinely granting variances, or you're getting variance applications, that's usually an indication that maybe there could be an improvement to the zoning code.
And, even if it's not routine, even if it's once every 6 months,
Mhm.
to have someone put in this position because of a little shed,
Mhm.
I think we have to do the right thing by residents, and if we see something, we might want to say something, right?
Yep.
And that might be talking to the Planning Commission and the ARB and so on, so maybe that's the next step.
Sure.
Not to force it through, but just to say, hey, here's an issue that's bubbling up, can we talk about it?
Yeah, it's important to make sure that the Board of Trustees are aware of that, because they're the policy setters and they
Yeah, but I
approve.
first want to talk to my compatriots and
Oh,
make
sure,
sure
you
everybody's on
could
the same
absolutely
page.
do that as well.
Because we could gel what we're thinking of,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then you approach the trustees. I don't want to waste their time while we're
Sure.
still baking the cookies, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I don't want to start a plot here. I just want to know how do we
Just-
think things through.
yeah. Work
as a
session,
village.
work session.
Okay, work session time, all right? So think about whether you want it to be February or March, depending on your travel, and let's talk about that by January 15th, or just email me, let me know, and we'll get the best date where everybody finds it to be convenient to be here, all right? Sound like a plan? All right, well, happy holidays, everybody.
Oh, my goodness.
Happy holidays.
That's
Are we
it.
there already?
We're
Happy
done.
holidays.
Alex,
Happy
thank you so
holidays.
much, and
Any-
if
of
Lisa were
course,
here, I'd say
anytime.
thank
Thank
you,
you,
Brian,
Alex.
thank you if you're still sticking around, I don't know if you are. But thank you so much for all your help.
Yeah.
You just are so invaluable to
my
this
gosh.
village.
Thank you. Thank you.
Seriously.
Thanks.
That's what and kudos to Carol. You've done an amazing job.
You
Yes.
guys have done
So
an amazing
great.
job.
Being it's been wonderful.
Yeah, we really appreciate it and all your leadership and organization.
Amen to that.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, no
Right.
small job.
I think we got a great team. Oh, we do need an alternate, guys. Please keep thinking,
right.
because if one of us can't do something and two are on Zoom, we don't have a quorum. So let's keep thinking about those alternates. It's hard with everyone's busy schedule. So anyway, all right, thanks. Happy holidays.
Okay. good
Thank
night.
you guys back there, by the way, for making it happen. It wouldn't happen without you at all. Appreciate it.
Can we just get a motion?
Oh,
Motion to close.
second.
All in favor?
Yes.
All in favor? Thank you. Aye. We're so bad.